Sorry, I pressed record twice, and now I have an unnecessary video clip that I have to go and delete. Would you guys want to wait for that, or should I just wait until the stream has finished so that I can go back and then do the logical thing and then delete it after the stream? Yeah, I think I already won my own debate. So, hi everybody, how's everyone going? I'm just gonna wait to the proof that the stream has begun, like always, and then this time I'm not gonna make some stupid thing intro. I'm just gonna wait, so that respectfully and honestly, and then just wait for the stream to start, and then the Twitch algorithm and the Twitch system to keep rolling and do. Okay, I think it's on now. All right, so hello. So it's been a while since I've done this series again, and it's mostly because I was just a lot of the topics that needs to be discussing is beginning to become more and more personal the more we discuss about these issues. I was able to separate myself from most of these kind of conversations till now, but this one is one of those ones that I have been very hesitant to talk about, and it's just because it's just generally not because it's not interesting to talk about, but it's just because it's very very personal, and it's probably personal to you guys, so it's still really worth talking about. So here we go today. So today we're gonna talk about fear, and then and it's mostly, you can argue this as a psychological kind of a question, or it can be a philosophical one as well. I'm gonna assume that it's philosophical just for the sake of the stream, and then we're just gonna go on with that topic today. And I can't remember if I've done something similar. I think I've mentioned a couple of times that we will talk about this sooner than later. Like I said, I've been quite hesitant about this, but it just felt like the right time. It just felt like the right time because there is no such thing as the right time. Just my general idea. There is no such thing as the right time. You just go ahead and do it, and then regret it later. Who cares? It doesn't really matter. But yeah, the reason I want to talk about this today is generally because I've been really busy thinking about this specific topic in general. And like I said before, I don't really like to put myself in these kind of topics as much, but I have to admit though, it just, the reason I mainly want to talk about this is basically because it just been bugging me for a very very long time. This kind of topic is not really into any books or any kind of articles. If you want to go and search for them yourselves, that's fine. It's probably because I didn't research this myself, but and I'm not gonna go ahead and say this is such a new idea. If it is, don't steal it. But just, yeah, but it was just worth talking about. Just maybe just to see whether I'm on the right track with my thought process in this, and whether or not I'm right. Probably not. Probably not. But it's always just worth discussing and getting the idea across and getting some as many perspectives as possible, which is the whole point of this, the whole point of this calm session, and the whole point of this just relax kind of sessions. So I have no clue if this whole stream is gonna last for the whole 1 hour or not. I'm gonna try my best to go down as deep as I can. But like I said before, this is still a thinking process, and I'm still not kind of grounded on this whole concept. But whatever, here we go. So fear. Why do I really want to talk about this? Well, the reason I want to talk about this is mainly because I was just thinking about emotions these days. Just why is emotion so important? Why is having feelings so important? Is it overrated? If it's not, and then and then from that point on, it gets a lot more complex from there. Because when I was starting to think about this, it started to go down into the pathways of what does it mean to want to do stuff? What does it mean to have desires, have goals, have dreams and all passions? What does that actually mean? What does that actually mean? Because I was you guys see me complain about a lot of motivational videos, right? And then just how they have this very glorified view, and then just have this butterfly twinkle twinkle stars of the fact that oh, do things that you love, do things that you like, and do things blah blah blah. I'm not saying those are any bad, we're gonna get to that later, but I was just thinking that how important is this feeling? How important is your love for something or your life? We're gonna get to the concept of love in probably a future stream, but we need a lot more discussion with that regards. I want to have more people joining in on that conversation than this one. But when I was like thinking about this, I was just thinking about like what gets me to like want to do things. What gets me to like make me perhaps like things. Is it, and where does this thing called happiness even come from? Like, where does this even come from? And then the more I thought about it, the more I couldn't like escape from the idea of like fear, and then the concept of scare, because well, happiness like sometimes comes and then you guys can get sad, or like you guys can then like become happy about certain things and just have fun in certain times and periods as well. I was just thinking that like, yeah, sure. Happiness just comes and goes every now and then, and that's totally probably normal. Like, have you like? I'm pretty sure none of you guys are completely always happy all the time. And if you guys are, great. Just like I'm not saying it's impossible, but it just seems like fear is like the one thing that's always there, and then just like being scared of everything, or like being scared to a certain extent is always there, while happiness and then like other kind of emotions is just like completely on and off every now and then depending on the situation. But regardless of the situation, it just feels like fear and then being scared of certain things is always there. And this is where the first question I want to come in, like when you guys want to do something and when you guys like to do something, like be honest with yourselves right now. When did you guys ever like completely were like ecstatic, or like really liked doing something? Like when was the last time that you felt that? Or like when was the last time that you guys felt like, oh yeah, this is a totally something that I want? Or like generally speaking, um was it like maybe you did have that kind of feeling when you were like buying something from like somewhere new, or like buying or like getting somewhere, or like going on a holiday or something, or like maybe even watching a Tender K stream. Maybe, but just it just felt like oh, is that emotion actually like happiness, or like is this completely something else? Like, how do you know if you're actually happy, or like if you're actually liking what you're currently doing, and then like actually enjoying it? How do you actually get to that? Because it seemed to me that like liking and then like happiness itself is counted as emotion, but is it actually emotion? Because like they're kind of like connected together, right? The fact that like if you do something that you enjoy, then it makes you happy. Therefore, you are doing something that you enjoy. But that it's a bit counterintuitive, because that means, well, can you enjoy something without being happy? And can you be happy without enjoying the thing that you do? And it just feels like the definition of each other is just like it's just like dependent on one another. So, how do you exactly know when you are happy, and then like how do you exactly know when you actually enjoy the things that you do? And that was just the thing that I wanted to like consider today. Oh, hello, forecasters. Hi. We're gonna talk about fear today, and then I hope you can join in. And it just felt like for example, like I didn't want to like mention this as well, but like every single time I come to stream as well, like it's always struggle for me to like always tell myself to like oh yeah, I'm doing this because I like doing it. I like to stream. I really do. But every now and then I just always think, like, not just only for streaming, I'm not blaming you guys for anything around this, but just like, do I really like to stream, or do I want to stream? Because it feels like now it's a bit different. Like if you want to like something, you need to want to do it. That's like they're connected. But like if you just want to do it, do you need to be happy about it, or do you need to like it? I don't think so. And this is where my point of fear comes in. Because like you don't need to be happy, or you don't need to like to do something. But what I wanted to like tell you guys today, in my opinion, was that like the main reason that you and I or everybody else probably like have very strong desires to go through anything, or like that strong desire to pretend, or like actually start liking to do something, it's probably because we're scared of what would happen if you don't end up doing it. Like, just generally, like, think about for one time in your entire lives where you didn't feel fear. Like, absolutely no fear whatsoever. Like, zero fear. Like, not scared at all. No anxiousness, no stress, no kind of like a desperation feeling, none of it as well. Um, like I'll give you some time, but like maybe like a minute, I guess. If you guys want to put down the chats, then you guys can do that as well. But it just seemed like that has never happened. That has never happened because the thing about fear is the fact that like it's a kind of emotion that's the thing that gets you to do things. Maybe like having like emotions such as happiness and liking and the ecstaticness get you to want to do something, maybe, but it doesn't actually get you to do something. And it doesn't get you to like need to do something. And this is what I mean by maybe if that's the case, then fear is pretty much the only emotion that's relevant or like actually have some kind of basis for it. Because like yeah, fear is the thing. Like just think about it. Like when you go to like when you think about wanting to go to a party, for example, if you guys have ever went to a party, like I'm just assuming here, the main thing that you guys probably think is like, oh sure, you guys might want to think about like, oh you're gonna have a blast, you're gonna have a fun time, you're gonna have like the happiest moment of your life, but I'm pretty sure the first thing, like legitimately, if we are being honest, the first thing that you guys are actually gonna think about is what would happen if I don't go to this party? Oh, then I'm gonna feel miserable and then I'm not gonna be able to have fun and then like blah 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 and all that. Is that normal or is that just because is that how it's supposed to be or is it just like you just focusing on a completely opposite thing? I'm pretty sure, but if you just think about it even deeper, you can probably only think about the fact that like what would happen if you miss out on certain things to get you to want to do it. You don't need to like think about like oh this happiness thing that's gonna happen once you go in the party, but like just by thinking about what would happen if you don't end up going to this party might be more than enough to like get you to actually go to that party. Of course, that depends on like how scared you are of missing out, you know? And it just seems to me that that is either the only emotion that everybody has or the strongest emotion that everybody has. Or I don't know, maybe you guys have a different opinions about this, which I'm more than open to, but to me it's like it's such a big feeling, like and then like it just feels so related. Like maybe happiness itself, maybe the desire to want things in itself is just another way to say some things that you do that you don't get as scared of if you were to go through with it. Like if you were to like go ahead and get a new job, for example, you'll be, when you think about getting a new job, you're gonna start thinking like the fear and the consequences of that. And then like the less of those consequences you have to face, or the negative consequences, the more likely you are gonna get that new job. But where does happiness actually like play in this then? Does it even have a role in any of this decision making? At least the main decision making? Because like once you get a new job and you can feel happy about it, and then when you get like feel satisfied by it, okay, then you can play a good job. But the thing that actually makes you want to do it, the thing that actually makes you want to go through with it, does happiness have any part in it whatsoever? And is happiness just another way to just say the lack of fear itself? If that's the case, does that mean that happiness don't even technically exist? That's the thing I wanted to like bring up today, and then have a kind of a pseudo discussion with you guys about like whether the only emotion that actually even exists is actually fear. Like nothing else, no other like feelings exist, and then like that's pretty much the only reason why you like do anything. Of course, there's some counter arguments to my argument as well, which I've been like thinking about most of the time. Because if like the lack of fear itself can be considered as happiness, then that means that happiness is based upon something, which is fear. But it does, yeah. That's what I was trying to like figure out. Like maybe like the lack of fear itself being happiness doesn't make happiness irrelevant, because well, the lack of fear is what defines happiness. So it has some kind of definition and some kind of like basis for something. Overall, that doesn't mean that like happiness is not important. And yeah, I was thinking that like yeah, it feels a bit like a kind of a negative way to think about just the fact that like we only do things because we're scared. The only reason that like anyone does anything is because like we are scared of any something. Maybe it's because like you're scared of like missing out. Maybe you're scared of like not getting a girlfriend in like soon enough time. Maybe you're scared that you're wasting your time. Maybe you're scared. Yeah, that's a really negative thing to talk about. Like have a like negative mindset. Of course, then we have to start debating about what is even a negative mindset in the first place, which probably we'll have to discuss in the future stream. Maybe right now as well, like depending on like how much time we have left and how much like interaction I get for this stream in general. But yeah, just the fact that what was I going with this? Yeah, so I was just thinking that like maybe I was thinking a bit too negative. Surely happiness can exist in certain areas, and it probably is a huge part of like why some people get to do stuff. But is that the main reason I still kept thinking about this was this all just an illusion? Like, are we pretending that lack of fear is just happiness to like make us like feel like it's a good thing to go through with this even more? Like, it's like it just happiness is always portrayed as something to be excited about, happy, literally happy, and then like something that you want, something that you desire. But is that just the way to like blind each other and blind everybody else and blind yourselves from the fact that like probably the only reason you're even alive at this point is not because you're striving for happiness, it's because you just don't want to be feared and you don't want to be scared. Like for example, I would just like let's just go to the extreme example. For instance, like why aren't you guys like killing yourselves right now? For example, no, actually, maybe that's a bit too extreme. But we'll stick to that for now. If you guys aren't comfortable with this kind of topic, then I strongly suggest that you don't have to force yourself to like listen to this if you guys don't want to. Like why like when I was thinking about like what is actually keeping people alive, and then what is actually keeping people going through all this like hardships, good things, of course there's good things sometimes, and then like all these difficulties. And most of the times you can just say that like it's just because they're just scared of the alternative, which is just like killing yourselves. And then like and it just feels weird. It just feels weird. Does that mean like going through life itself is just the avoiding fear in and of itself? The fear of like there is sometimes some people's lives are super awful, like super duper terrible, but like the alternative is even more scary. So is that the only reason why people go through like all these hardships? like remember, like if you guys don't remember the last stream, we were talking about like when would it be alright to like tell people to just give up, and then just like your life is so awful, like completely awful. Yeah, I can totally see that. Oh, you can totally go and just end it all. Yeah, we won't stop you. We won't stop you. There's no hope for you anymore. Like we were talking about that last time, like a pretty long time ago actually from that one. And then like I think we're going back a little bit, but it just goes to show that fear is like while it can be debated to be not as like not the only kind of emotion that matters, it is still pretty dang important, because like it's without question probably the main reason why people are just so holding on to this like trend of life, like just going on with their lives as if like this is the best thing ever, even if they have to pretend, if they have to, like just the fact that like this is even if this was the worst case scenario, like the worst is still not worth it. The alternative is still not worth it because it's scary, like it's very fearful, and it's just like that's how we are prone to like tackle even more sometimes arguably even bigger hardships. Who knows? That like happiness itself would not be able to like provide like the incentives, and it just made me feel quite awkward, you see. And this is the, like I said, like I want to hear your opinions about this. Like maybe is this true? I'm not saying anything bad about it in general. Like yeah, it's a very negative thing to like way to think about, and then just abandoning the concept of happiness itself. But um, it just feels like, is it better to like, if this theory is true, would it be better to like just be in this kind of like hallucination state where you just pretend that not being fearful or not being scared is happiness? Or do we really only deserve that much, you know? Or like do we only like want that much? If I'm right, that is, if I'm right, maybe, like, if I'm wrong, then this whole thing goes out the window. That's totally fine. That's the whole reason why we have this kind of like streams in general. It's just to like have these kind of like discussions. But I hope you guys at least can like have like understand some of the points I'm making. like like I said before, like I was just like really like having trouble these days about like going around and figuring out, you know, yeah, I want to do things. I do a lot of things. I do want to do a lot of things, but have I ever liked them? Did I do them because I liked them, or did I do them because I was afraid of what would happen if I didn't do them? Like, it's some spheres are just as simple as just like my, for example, like if I had to like go for me, like my fear of just like not making a stream and then just like giving up, the fear of giving up, like right here, right now, and just like the fear of like what would like do to me in the long run if I were to just like stop streaming like from this day onwards and all that kind of stuff. Or like the fear of like, it doesn't even have to be about streaming, like for generally like the fear of like losing your job gets you to work harder, for example. The fear of wanting to, the fear of like wanting to get children, I guess, like just like when you're dead and then you want someone to like put you in your grave. Like, but like it's like when, like, even if you say that like this, you didn't do any of this because mainly because of your fear of certain things, has it never been a part of it, any of this? Like when, like, have you ever had a day or like a second of your lives when like fear was at least not a part of your decision making skills? And yeah, it just feels like quite awkward when I go even deeper through this. Because like if you have to go through even more scientific knowledge, and like evolution is like saying that evolution can give a counter argument to my argument, whereas it says that, well, we have been evolved to like feel happiness and both fear and happiness. There's chemical reaction that's happening in your brain, so like surely it's both of them are important for survival, right? Like both of them are necessary in order for you to get to do stuff. Yeah, that might make sense in a biological standpoint, probably. I think that's quite a strong argument. But but we still need some evidence for that, though. Like, what does happiness get? What does happiness do? Allow you to do that fear themselves don't, you know? And sure, there might be good reasons, but at the same time, how much, you know? How much? I'm not suggesting that happiness might not be important. I'm suggesting that like maybe it doesn't really matter, which probably means the same thing now that I think about it. But generally speaking, it's still about whether or not happiness even matters, or like how, or about how much it matters in comparison to fear. And it feels like I made a strong opinion. I have a strong opinion about the fact that like fear is at least the most important emotion, and the most important, at least to the concept of like wanting and then having desires, which is the pretty much the only things that, you know, make living things in its way special, right? Like think about it in general. Like what makes inanimate object, or like what makes humans, or if just any animal, any alien species such as myself, are more unique, arguably, than inanimate objects. You can say nothing, which that's kind of more existentialism kind of quote. But you can also say that the desire to just having greed. Like stones, for example, arguably don't have greed, and and buildings, while they are crafted and look majestic and like tourist attraction that's been like dirtied all over the streets and then like having rubbish all over the place. Yeah, those kinds of places might, those stones, if they have emotions, might be depressed, but like they're certainly not greedy for now, at least. I don't know, maybe the research is on there whether or not atoms themselves have like emotions or something, but generally speaking, the reason why animals themselves are quite interesting is mostly because they're one of those rare kind of like things in the universe that actually wants things, that actually needs, or quotation marks, needs things, or like want things. Good evening. Hello, Cyber Vision, how are you? Yeah, so like that maybe that was the thing that makes things special. So I was just always wondering about like how much, you know, if greed and then if wanting is so important as living things, maybe at the end of the day, maybe fear is the most important emotions after all, because like there's that's the main thing that drive anything. If it has fear, to want to get something to avoid that fear. And yeah, it just made a question about like what makes, does this, if you were to say life is about avoiding fear, then is it even a life that's worth going through if you're just avoiding the worser situations? And then like, because like the way we interpret it is like the act of avoiding worse situations is called happiness, which is just my interpretation of it. Maybe I'm wrong, but is it just a way to like hide this kind of depressing reality? You know, get where you're coming from. Yeah, is this the way to like hide that depressing reality? You know, because like I said before, like why do you guys, like genuinely speaking, have such strong desires to like go through so much stress, go through so much hardships? It's not simply gonna be because of it just makes you happier if you go through them. No. I'm just thinking that that's pretty rare, if not never, because unfortunately it just seems that happiness is in itself is pretty weak emotion. Then you can even argue that you can just be happy just by taking as much drugs as you want, and then like boom, technically you're gonna be happy. But you know, there's somehow stress is basically fear, so it makes it harder to get things done. So a good driving point. Yeah, but the thing I want to have a discussion about is fear the only driving point? Is fear the only driving point? That's a thing I want to like really get across, and that's the thing I've been trying to get myself to be rather comfortable or uncomfortable about, because like no, it's not. Yeah, perhaps not. But it just seems that I don't know. Like you can like get rid of like happiness itself, and then the having fear itself will probably get you to do anything. You know? Like or at the very least, I was just like explaining this like just now about how like happiness itself is probably more linked towards the lack of fear, and we just interpret that as happiness. But is that just blinding ourselves from the fact that like you're still scared? You know, like that's the thing that we're looking for. You know, after this guy I barely had stress, I just tried to find other ways. Yeah. It's like, yeah, I understand. That's not doing it for other people. So that's how you get through those. That's a very interesting way. Yeah, keep going. I want to know more about this. What do you mean by start doing things for other people? What do you mean by that? It made them happy, so it made me happy. I see. I understand. Perhaps so. I was just thinking that like whenever some people help people, like what do you really feel? Like really feel? What does it mean for you to feel happy, you know? We're happy that I was passing my class and such and getting good grades. Yeah. But at the end of the day, like let's have that quote. Let's question that a bit. Do you feel happy about the fact that people are happy, or do you just feel happy about the fact that they're not judging you about like getting bad grades? Or like because like are you happy because like they're happy, or are you less scared when they feel less intimidating, or maybe they've never been intimidating. I don't know. Well, I was just like this also includes like societal expectations, you know, just the fact that like many people are so scared of like certain societal norms that like they go through hardships and effort and put a lot of work into like avoiding that kind of situation and fear. And yeah, even if like you don't agree with this, that's totally fine. But just the fact that like it just seems like this is pretty darn important, you know. I don't really care if I have that, so there's not be scared of in that field. Yeah, but are you actually not scared of it? Like, have you never been scared of it, or even slightly? And maybe that slightly is enough to like get you to push onwards. But at the end of the day, that's really subjective. Yeah, I understand that. That's really subjective. And you have to like start having to like record and then like start measuring like emotions to a accurate level to start determining whether any of my ideas are even correct. Which is maybe it's for the best that like I'm wrong. Maybe it's for the best that like I don't that my ideas are just completely not researched further. You know, you can look at everything with a view like that. It's not. Yeah, sure. Yeah, exactly. Yes, my view and everything. Yeah, I agree. You can find sadness and everything. Yep. Mm-hmm. About happiness and everything. Mm. Yeah, I agree with the fact that you can find sadness and fear from everything. Yeah, that's the thing. And I'm not. It's yeah. I think like the thing I don't want people to misunderstand when I say this is the fact that like either way, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing that like people want to avoid fear or people want to strive for happiness. Either thing gets you to like do things that you arguably want to do, you know. And then like it's just a case of like maybe the mindset. But when I think about happiness driving people onwards, and when I think about that, it just seems like a bit awkward, like just weird to think about that. Like maybe um you can say this is the point of view kind of thing, but it just seems like just the fact of just like hiding the truth, maybe. Like I said before, like is happiness even a thing? Is happiness just a thing that we just made up to pretend that like there's certain the lack of certain times of fear is what we call happiness, when we could have just said, oh yeah, not being as scared. Um, for some reason feels more positive. Like calling it that aspect happiness, that seems more positive. But is it actually more positive? You know? And then we have to start going into the question about what is even positive in the first place. Like, what does it mean to have a negative perspective? Like, when you're thinking positively, is it just ways you lie to yourself about like how like certain parts or certain like emotions you're feeling is for the better and for the good? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But yeah, what are you doing yourself any favor by like calling like, if my idea that like happiness is just simply a lack of fear, then is it any better to say that's happiness than just saying lack of fear? Of course, calling it happiness is logically better because like it's shorter and kind of catchy. But like is it a bit overrated at that point? Like maybe too much faith is placed on driving and wanting happiness that people just forget the fact that like at the end of the day you're still scared, and at the end of the day what you're really going after is the fact that like reducing your fear, and then like just wanting to like do things because you're scared of sometimes wanting to get involved, that's scared of like not getting involved in certain things, you know. And it's like, I don't know, like it felt like maybe just being blinded by the truth. Maybe like, is this the truth? I don't know. Is this the truth or not? This is which is why I mean by the title of this entire stream, about whether or not fear is the only emotion that matters in reality. We can call it whatever we want, you know? Accepting the truth. Perhaps. Sorry, I was like mumbling for way too long. Living with it. Perhaps. I was just also on that mindset to a certain degree as well. The counter argument to that would be is living with it, is accepting the truth as just, just forgetting about the troubles that you go through, Like, you can't accept the truth. What does that even mean, though? What does that even mean? And you have to start wondering as to, like, what is even the truth? What is the truth? Am I right for saying that fear itself is the only thing that matters? If that's the case, then that kind of argument that like accepting the truth is what leads to happiness to be kind of obsolete, because in order for you to be happy, you need to accept the fact that happiness is from the fact that you don't get fear. And I'm pretty sure there's a lot more variation of happiness that other people would think. For example, people are just like not necessarily accepting the truth, but I'm just thinking about the whole kind of general idea of like happiness, just like just going to drinking, or like going to like having parties, or like going to holidays, those kind of happiness as well. Every of these things are considered under this one huge umbrella called happiness. Like happiness. But does any of this actually a positive thing, or is this just another way to like escape, just another way of escapism? And then we just like call this escapism just the whole concept called happiness, and then we just call it a day. And yeah, I agree to a certain degree that like if you want to be happy, like you have to sometimes accept and live with it. But what do you exactly accept, What do you exactly accept? If that's the criteria of happiness, then even compared to my idea, it's even more impossible. Because at the very least, you can reduce your fears to certain degrees. Like, for example, just like if you're scared of like being bored, then you can go and watch like streams, for example. That's you can do that. If you're scared of like not doing your homework will get you in trouble, then you can like start doing your homework. So there's ways you can be happy by reducing your fears. But if you're saying that happiness is by accepting the truth, then it's even more complicated, because now you have to start wondering exactly what the truth even is. And then just like, what does it even mean to be reality? Because, for example, like I wanted to make this a separate stream, but like I wanted to like make a stream about like whether anything in this world is impossible. And I was planning to say no. And maybe you guys would say, yes, there are things in this world that is impossible. And then, like, how do we know? Like, I could be right, you could be right. That's the whole point, and that's the thing. This is the main reason that philosophy gets in the way of... I can argue that philosophy gets in the way of, like, people's quote-unquote happiness. Because, well, if there's no answer, will be no answer. And that's both the most beautiful part about philosophy and also the scariest part about philosophy. Because that's the whole point of it. That's the whole point of it. You can't make up reality, and then you can't accept something that you can't even see or like experience or feel. Like I said before, the reason I'm like making this concept about fear and then like trying to like tell you guys the importance of fear is the fact that maybe this is the simplest and the most easiest way, as much as we would hate to admit, to get as close to happiness as possible. Like, at the end of the day, it also technically means that happiness itself might be impossible, because, well, happiness is not a thing, and it's just a way to avoid fear. But at the end of the day, if I am wrong, then great, fantastic. But it's not gonna get any easier from there, is it? Just contradicting yourself now. Oh, okay. Can you explain? Yeah, maybe. Sorry. I feel I'm going all over the place right now, aren't I? What did I do? What did I do? What did I do? Now you said happiness is impossible. Yeah, I said. Like I said before, like I might not be right. Maybe it is possible, maybe it isn't. But if it is impossible, like I said before, like I'm not suggesting that, like I said, like I want to make the stream about whether or not anything is impossible or possible to be a thing. I was gonna say maybe it isn't. but that's also up for debate. Like I said before, when I make, like I said this ever since the first philosophy stream I've ever made, was the fact that I'm probably wrong, and then that's the way it's supposed to be. I'm probably wrong. Sure, I have opinions and I have my arguments, and then if happiness is possible, then I would totally be fine with it, just as much as I would be totally fine if happiness was actually impossible. Because look at us right now. Look at us right now. Sure, it might not be completely perfect, and it will never be perfect, but we're still going. We're still here. Maybe that's better. Maybe it's not. Who knows? I'll probably make a session about whether or not anything is wrong or right in the future, but that's gonna be a lot more complicated stream, and then yeah, just a lot more things to discuss in that one. But the reason I'm kind of contradicting myself is because even I don't know. I just have opinions. And then the reason I make these kind of streams is because I want to test these kind of opinions with you guys, and then just generally talk through about, like, yes, sometimes we may disagree, and sometimes we may agree, but at the end of the day, let's just throw all that ego out the window, and then just have a conversation about some things that we won't get any answers to anyway. And yeah, even if, like I said, let's just assume that, for example, okay, just to like get back on the right track, let's just assume that nothing is impossible then, and then that happiness itself is possible. What I wanted to like point out through this stream was the fact that, like, even if happiness is possible, it's still probably gonna be hugely related to fear, and by itself it will probably mean nothing by itself. Like, happiness definitely will need fear. You can't have happiness if you don't have fear. And then it just seems like if that's the definition that we're gonna go with, then happiness will be possible if that is the definition that you will want to accept. If it's not, and it's something that's completely separate from fear itself, then it just gets a bit more complicated. It's still definitely possible. I'm not suggesting that anything is impossible right now, but it can be. Like, just in case we need to discuss about this, and then we don't need to discuss about this. Let me take that back. You can go through your entire lives, just like your entire philosophy lives and the careers, not knowing this. Like, I'm just accepting the way things are, the way you guys believe in. That's totally fine. I wouldn't blame anyone for doing that. But it just puts into perspective about, like, your own desires. And personally, my own desires as well. Like, just the fact that, like, yeah, many of the things I do and many of the things that you guys do, like, should not be worthwhile doing if you guys were just going for only happiness, you see. And I was just always thinking about the fact that, like, and every single time you guys are probably also thinking about, like, does what I'm doing right now, what am I currently up to, making me happy? And what does that even mean? What does that mean? Like, I'm assuming that Cyber Pigeon right now is a student, so, like, maybe you regret, like, continuing your education right now. Maybe you could be doing completely something different. But when you think about that, and then, like, actually, like, think very deeply about, like, what you would be doing if you weren't a student right now, you would be thinking, like, and then you just imagine yourself in, like, I don't know, like, you want to be an astronaut, you start training for become an astronaut, and then you're an astronaut, and then, like, you start being a celebrity, and then you be a celebrity, and or like all that kind of stuff. Like, can you imagine, like, you do any of these things, like, all your dreams come true, and then still not have that fear of, like, what would have happened if I were to just stay the student? Like, there's no such thing as a perfect kind of, like, a situation or a perfect kind of job. Like, every single person or, like, every single thing that says that my life is great or my life is perfect, yeah, probably being honest, but at the same time, just like, is he really, like not feeling any discomfort whatsoever, or her, or whatever? Like, it's like, can you ever, you can get happiness, but can you ever completely avoid fear? To, like, not exact physical fear, like, you guys know exactly what I mean. Like, I'm not talking about, like, the fear of getting stabbed, or, like, let's just forget about those kind of exactly stereotypical kind of fear, but the fear of like missing out, or the fear of like the fear that gets you to do act the things that you do, you know. And if that's the case, then has anything that you've ever done for yourself ever, was that any of those for happiness? Or is that, or are you just like just was always every single time, every single action that you've ever done in your entire life just to avoid fear ever since that you were born, when you started just to crying for your mother's milk or something? Yeah, was that where it all started? Was that when it all began? It can like it's you can see kind of see the point in this. Like I said, very pessimistic, very negative kind of way of thinking. And like though, but to round up what I'm trying to say right now is the fact that like I'm not suggesting that like happiness doesn't exist. What I'm suggesting is the fact that like, you know, happiness just might be another way to like explain exactly this, like the act of like wanting to not be scared. And that if that's the case, then happiness itself might be irrelevant. Yeah, it exists, but it's just irrelevant, because this emotion is all that matters for people, for at least human beings. And because and if not the most important emotion, at least a significant part of the emotion that just gets to be very, very important. And that's the thing that I'm uncomfortable with, like just the fact that like happiness has never driven, personally for me, and maybe not for any of you, potentially. I'm not saying that some things don't make me happy, like talking to you guys is making me happy, but just like I just can't imagine myself. I can imagine myself doing the exact same things with just fear itself, but not necessarily happiness, you know? Like not necessarily happiness. And it just feels very wrong to say this every now and then. At least when I was just thinking all this through. Just the fact that like you know, this is what it means to want. This is what it exactly means to like desire, be greedy, be selfish sometimes. And just the fact that like the only thing that drives anybody onwards, you know? And if I'm wrong, like I said, fantastic. Like if I am wrong, fantastic. What do you guys think about that? Pretty complicated, but generally speaking, I've probably repeated the same sentiment 3 times by now. Like, fear is either very important or the only thing that's important. Or I'm completely wrong. I'm completely wrong. And I just wanted to like bring this up because like maybe, you know, happiness itself is kind of overrated, and it might be. It just might be. Just like how many times have you like been told to like do things that makes you happy, you know? How many times have you guys been told to like find your happiness, find your calling, or like find your all these positive letters and all these like gift cards, kind of like talk. I'm not saying that those things weren't made with good intentions by any means. Like all those were like very positive things to do, and that all those messages are very, very nice to hear. But it just doesn't get. It just felt like it doesn't get down to the right point. It just doesn't get right to the just get to the very get to the very core of the problem when it comes to the idea of desiring happiness. That maybe it just doesn't work like that. Maybe it just doesn't happen like that. You know? And it just, yeah, just feels that that's just my opinion about this. We have exactly 11 more minutes before the stream ends. Would anybody like to offer some counter arguments? I've been babbling for way too long. Like I want to just like have this opportunity to share some like different opinions, and then like different kind of mindsets here. Of course, like I said, my opinions at the very end of the day. I will say this every single time. If you do not agree, that is totally fine. But I'm just saying that take what you need and then just mix it up. And if you guys find anything I said to be wrong, I will I totally understand, and I will like try to figure out where I just what I have what where I've gone wrong. I still personally, for now, don't think that like there's anything that's right or wrong, and that's the only reason that these streams can be done is because uh when I make these kind of streams, it's just all about the fact that like the only thing that we can agree on is the fact that like when we're on this platform right now, there's no right and wrong answers. There is no right and wrong answers, and then it's just mostly for the sake of argument and also fun, also just for enjoyment part. I hope you guys can at least kind of get what I'm trying to go by, and then like I think Cyber Pigeon can understand. I think Cyber Pigeon has gotten to understand a little bit. Of course, we still have our disagreements. That's fine. It's so like okay, completely off topic. It just feels like completely like I keep saying awkward. There must be a better word to say this, but I just I just love the fact that like stream chats are surprisingly a lot more respectful of like these kind of ideas than people would think. Like I like when I was just like going around and then just saying like okay maybe like doing these kind of like very hard streams might not be a good idea to like too often. But no, people like I think people enjoy it as much as I like to sometimes make them. Not all the time because it does to some men. It does take a lot of mental processing to like have all this like prepared to like to like a presentable kind of like place. Like this has been on my mind for a very long time already, and then like just I've already discussed with a lot of different minds about this already, and then not done any specific research though. I'm just saying, but yeah, that doesn't mean that like we can't have a talk about this. That's far from it. That because we lack research, we need to research. We need to have a lot more talk about this. Okay, I take what I said back. We don't need to. We just strongly desire to, I guess. But does anybody else have like any more opinions about this? Like any other like claims that they want to bring up? Maybe some like perhaps even some quotes from other people that might research this. Like I personally think that those kind of things might be relevant, like compared to like not irrelevant, but just as important and plausible as like every other kind of like opinions, even through chats. And so I weigh them all equally, to be honest. But like if anybody has like certain things that they want to bring up, that's totally fine as well. We've got to do a lot of deep topics today, and I hope you guys are not too brain dead from like tackling this. Like a lot of a lot of my fans do have a trouble with like digesting all this at the same time, which good because this is a very difficult topic, and but you don't have to. You don't have to. Just like once you leave today, just completely relax and tone down, and then just go through it. So if no one has any other things to say about like topic, let's just round up what we have to say. We have been talking about the fact that fear is very important, and also the fact that happiness itself may be irrelevant. Like we could have like gone through other emotions such as like sadness. I'm trying to think of more emotions in the top of my head. Curiosity, blah blah blah. But generally speaking, all these other emotions, the reason I only focus on these two was because those other emotions fall under these umbrellas. Either way, it's either fear or happiness that makes you like curious, I guess. I don't know. But you guys kind of get the point of why I've decided to focus on these two in general, because not because simply they're the important, but because those two emotions are the foundation of every other emotion in general, and the other emotions are just subtle variations of like these two very distinct characters, which we have been arguing whether or not they were actually distinct or not. And yeah, just to clarify, go ahead. I know it's weird to say this after all I've said about this, but like do be happy. Like don't force yourself to be happy. Be sad whenever you want to. Be scared whenever you need to, and be happy whenever you can. don't ever force, like I always say this, but don't force yourself to be happy. Like if watching my stream, as pain as it brings my very soul, does not make you guys feel happy and and have fun, you guys do not have to force yourselves to. I will love every single one of you equally, no problem. And just that was like my point. The reason I made the stream was not to depress anybody. Okay, that's the only thing I wanted to say. Just the fact that but I just wanted you guys to like question about what it actually makes you guys be happy. Like if happiness is very important, and I do argue that it is very important, you need to start like thinking about what it exactly it means to be happy. Like you can either accept my point of view or not accept my point of view, but whatever it means, just like having that time to like just reason about like whether or not something I desire is truly worthwhile. What it exactly means for something to be worthwhile. Certain actions, something that you desire, something that you want, or something kind of like objects that you desire. What does that mean when you want them? Do you really want them? Like really want them? And how would you know if you really want them? That's the reason why I decided to make this stream, even though it was a very difficult challenge to like properly explain, I guess, and then like to properly get the idea across, because it's just so complex. And every single philosophy stream is like this. Every single philosophy stream. Some philosophy streams I do not think as much as this, but most of the times I do. Most of the times I do. But yeah, just keep in mind that always go and try your very best to be whatever happiness is, whatever that means to you, whatever that means. I do not have the right definition, and at the end of the day, that probably is a very good thing. That probably is a good thing. Like pessimism, optimism, whatever isms, you are probably right. It's like really scary. It's really scary when everyone's right, but at the same time, it's also kind of exciting though. Like it makes for a very interesting chat, for example. And Cyber Pigeon, I am very like, if you're still listening to this, I am very I really appreciate you coming along and then having a kind of a chat about this with me. Because I like to chat about these things. Yeah, I do. And like I really appreciate it, and like I hope everybody else can like have taken something useful out of this. If not, that's okay. I like this, even if you did not take anything useful and you found all this to be complete nonsense, I still technically did my job, because that's the whole point of my channels. Yeah, so either way, I don't think I have any regrets. This was a pretty good successful explanation, I think. I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure I've missed a lot of things out. That's a good thing as well, because you guys can like put whatever you guys want in between the cracks if you guys care, if that's what you guys can say. And yeah, just enjoy what you take from this. Enjoy what you like learned, or what you have not learned, or what you find complete like BS from this, and then just evolve and adapt your ideas, whatever that means. Like I said, this is your mind. Like this is your ideas. And then like sure, like be like sometimes I have nothing against being stubborn about like whether or not you guys are right, because well, like I said, nothing is truly right or wrong. But just having the chance to like mix things up a bit, and then just mix some like different theories up every now and then, just feels like just feels more progress. Maybe it isn't. I don't know. I have no idea what I'm saying. But we have 1 more minute left. Are you sure that you guys have nothing else to say? Because if not, then I guess we'll like start ending things here. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys have enjoyed, you guys can follow me if you guys would like to. If you guys do not want to, that's totally fine as well. If you guys want to subscribe to my YouTube channel, like all my streams are on my second channel right now, you guys can check that out. And also my first channel is like a pretty slow uploading. Like I'm sorry, but I'm probably gonna start uploading gonna upload something there new soon. It's gonna be a very old video though, so I'm kind of worried. I'm kind of worried, but whatever. I'll just do it. I don't care. I love every single one of you, and we'll just give 20 more seconds for anybody to want to say even bye, for example. If not, then I guess I'll just leave. I guess I'll just leave. Yeah, yeah, why not? 10 more seconds. Oh, I'm gonna miss you guys. I'm Tendo K, and I will see you guys next time. I love every single one of you, and take care. Good night, everyone. Good night. Bye. Love you. Bye.